Do you ever wish you could slowly fade out of reality, but halfway through the experience it starts to hurt, and the closer to the end it gets, the more it hurts? Like trying to get drunk after you ate a 20-piece McNugget meal, and you watch all your friends proceed to have a good time, and you're so physically full that any drink you swallow is held back by the sheer mass in your stomach. And as everyone gets more and more giddy, you are being pushed further and further down into the deepest depths of despair where no joy could ever reach you. Whatever answer you gave at the beginning, keep it to yourself. This is 3 ways to fade out an object in Unity. The first choice is probably the easiest, and my personal least favorite of the 3. After you slap on UnityEngine.ui at the top of your script and go down into your brand new fade function, you can call crossfadealpha. Pop in your target alpha, duration of the fade, and if it should ignore the timescale. I don't know what the last one means. There are some cons to this method. First off, it only works on UI elements. Second, it only works on some UI elements. Third, I hate it so very, very much. It does have some pros though. 1, it's already coded. Moving on to our second method, and my personal favorite of the 3, coroutines. This method is great because it's not limited to UI elements. You can fade out a box, a sprite, a raw image, even your fraudulent tax documents. To explain how coroutines function, I will show you a fully functional coroutine function functioning to fade out a dysfunctional cube family after family function. Are you still with me? Think of code like a series of instructions done one by one. In a typical block of code, the program executes each line in order. If you were to call a function, the program would go to wherever the function exists and executes each of its lines in order before returning to the original block of code to continue. This is what we programmers call computationally organized code keys. Coroutines belong to a different acronym: Binary Integrated Giga Computational Organized Code Keys, otherwise known as programmer lingo aside. Coroutines don't follow the linear execution of code that typical functions do. A coroutine will be running at the same time as the rest of the program. That is why they're perfect for fading out functions. The way we go about this is creating a while or for or some kind of loop that checks if the object is done fading out. If it isn't, repeat the code until it is faded out. There's a lot of pros to this method. 1. This does not interrupt the rest of your program, so if you have something fading out while you're finishing up your daily shift at Papa's Freezeria. 2. This gives you more control to set flags before and after the fade in case your program doesn't try to jump scare you with Freddy Fazbear while he's still 90% faded out of reality. 3. Here's a couple things else you can do. Add delays, cause events to happen mid-fade, control the speed of the fade by frame. You can set your initial opacity inside of the coroutine. There's probably more, but I'm tired of brainstorming. Cons. You have to code it. Lastly is our third method, and my personal. This method is only for trained professionals, so be very careful pulling it off in your own editors. The idea is very complicated, so try to keep up. Whatever object you're trying to fade, create between 1 to 1,000 additional copies of it in the scene. Now, manually go into each object and slightly change the opacity of the object. Then, create a script that will cycle through each of these objects, having only one active at a time. This will create the illusion of fading out, without dealing with the convenience of using only one object. The pros of this method are: 1. Lower that pesky frame rate. 2. Use more CPU. More is always better. 3. Crash the game you're playing so you get to experience it again from the start. There are no cons. This concludes 3 ways to fade out stuff in Unity. Just remember, this is a tutorial, a terrible tutorial. Thanks for watching.